Brandon Aiyuk finally said the words, trade me. What happens?
Well, it all depends upon how far he's willing to push this. It's like Costanza on the way out to his fictional house on Long Island. How far is he going to? In the Hamptons. In the Hamptons. That's on Long Island?
It is,
right?
Yeah,
the Hamptons
you're right, Mike. It's all good, Mike.
You're from that area,
solarium.
So, yeah, he had 2 solariums and he had 2 horses, Snoopy and Prickly Pete. Yeah. How far is Brandon Aiyuk willing to push this? Will he not show up like Nick Bosa did last year? I think one thing he's learned is the 49ers respond to the squeaky wheel. And he really hadn't been squeaking all that much. Remember when Deebo Samuel wanted his contract? And he's like, I want out. And he convinced everybody he wanted out. And then they made him an offer. And he said, maybe I don't want out. Nick Bosa last year held out until he got what he wanted. Aiyuk had been very compliant. And now that's changed. So what are they going to do? The problem with trading him now, what do you get in return that helps you now? You're parting with one of your key players, and you're not getting assets that can be used now unless somebody has a player out there that they would say, okay, we'll take that guy in exchange for Brandon Aiyuk. I really do think, Rich, that the 49ers wanted to hold their nucleus together for one more year and then make hard decisions after this season about Brandon Aiyuk, about Deebo Samuel, about George Kittle. Aiyuk is accelerating that by making it clear he doesn't want to play for $14.1 million. I think it's a mess for everyone, and there's a chance he just shows up and he's not as motivated as he was last year. Maybe he gets a little banged up and he chooses not to play through it because he's got no financial security beyond this season. If he ultimately cries uncle, I have a feeling he's not going to have the kind of year that causes him to be second in the NFL in yards per target and second team All-Pro.
So that just again makes no sense to me why the Niners would comply right now. And I always, would love to see players with the hammer. I just don't see him having it. You know what I mean? Like his only hammer is to swing it and say, enjoy, playing Monday Night Football without me against the Jets week 1. Like, and really, and then how far do you take that, right? Like that seems to be it. But it also seems like the Niners don't usually, I mean, why would they want to have that problem hanging over their team? Like that is not.
They paid all their key guys.
Right.
They paid all their key guys. They traded DeForest Buckner, and they squeezed Eric Armstead for a take a pay cut or take a hike ultimatum. Otherwise, they pay their key players. They paid Christian McCaffrey at a time when it wasn't obvious that he was a squeaky wheel, although I think he was doing it very discreetly and very quietly, making it known that it's time for him to be taken care of. But Nick Bosa, last year, same situation Aiyuk's in. Didn't show up, got his contract. So if Aiyuk is willing to incur the daily fines, and when you're in your 5th-year option, you miss a preseason game, you can be fined the amount of a regular season game check. So it can get very expensive. Now, those can be waived. Guys on first contract, those can be waived. Bosa did it last year, and I'd like to think if Aiyuk does it this year, they'll eventually do something. Either trade, and I keep coming back to this, Rich. We reported over the weekend that before the draft, the 49ers and Aiyuk's agents were trying to work something out. And I think he wanted 28 at the time. He probably wants more now, and he should. The market's changed. The 49ers basically said, go find somebody else who'll give you 28. They were authorized to go look to see if there was somebody who would trade for him and pay him 28. 5 teams would do it. So think about this. There are 5 teams that would have paid him what he wanted and given the 49ers value to trade for him. There just wasn't an offer big enough to get the 49ers to say yes. All the 49ers have to do is pay him. They don't have to give anybody anything. So if 5 teams are willing to pay him and give something up, why wouldn't the 49ers just pay him what he wants?
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.